What's up, good people? You got Lavelle here, aka Vell, and welcome to my channel where we bond over our favorite TV shows, trending topics, and everything in between that we care about. Damn! Now, one of the things that I was not going to originally cover because I was kind of like, I don't care. But then we were inundated with Jamal Bryant's BinderGate response. And so now here we are. So I figured if I began to care about it, that some of our EOV family cared about it and probably wanted to hear my view. So here we go. So I'll catch those of you who are not yet familiar up to date so that we can unpack it from there. So Jamal Bryant, who is the ex-husband of Giselle from the Real Housewives of Potomac, and also her current boyfriend, if you believe her storyline this season, has now come out to address the accusations that Monique shared during the reunion out of her binder of receipts. Well, he now claims to have the cash register. So let's take a look at what Jamal himself had to say. I tried to chop it up to the applicable parts of his response so that we could get the full content to save some of you some time, especially because it was a 25-minute live with a lot of dead air and preacher fluff in it. However, it still ended up being much longer than I preferred. However, hang in there with me. Okay, Mama, what you got to say?
Merry Christmas, everybody. Joy to the world. Hope that everybody is having a happy and a healthy and a wholesome holiday, in spite of all that is taking place, that there will be peace in your life and peace in your home and peace for your family. I'm praying above all that your health is in good place. I wanted to share with all of you on tonight just a couple of things that are on my heart. And so I'll just take one moment before it is that I begin. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your support. Okay.
There you go, binder.
Get my binder. And I don't want to
that was so
you,
petty. The binder's petty.
But I wanted to make sure that I had everything that I needed for tonight. Let me first apologize for the delay. I know ordinarily you would have looked to hear from me sooner and earlier. But I've been busy campaigning around the state of Georgia as we are in a very critical election.
Yes, y'all are, Georgia.
2 senators to be elected. My Morehouse brother, Reverend Raphael Warnock, and John Ossoff. Early voting started here on Monday, and I'm glad to be a part of the Black Church PAC that is navigating and mobilizing churches around the
I left this part in on purpose to remind you guys in Georgia to vote.
I have been delayed.
We need y'all votes.
Trying to honor the wishes of Giselle, who asked me not to respond, not to say anything. So for those of you who were overwhelmingly concerned that I hadn't said anything, had not given any defense, as because I was honoring what it is that Giselle desired. Because of mounting moments that have happened in social media, I thought it prudent that I not remain silent so that my silence would not be confused with consent. Let me open by saying, those of you who know me, I'm always a straight shooter. So as a consequence, you need to know from the jump, tonight is not an apology. Tonight, I'm not asking for anybody's forgiveness. Tonight is not about a confession. Tonight is for clarity. I have, for 5 seasons, I've never said anything about Potomac. For 5 seasons, not said a word in a sermon, in a post, in a subtweet, in a text. I average at least 56 interviews a year. And in no condition and in no term have I ever mentioned the Housewives of Potomac, good, bad, or ugly, in support. A couple of things that I wanted to share that I think prudent for our discussion tonight. I have long since not been an advocate for many reality television shows because I don't think that it represents the best of who we are. nor does it advance our progress, our maturity, and our brilliance. A bone of
no, because it's entertainment.
Between Giselle and I for years was about her participation in the show and how it is that I did not support it. In baby steps of reconciliation, I agreed to be on it against my better judgment, against my wisdom, and even against my convictions. I wholeheartedly regret participating.
Oh, I bet you do now.
And I want you to know that I will never be on the Housewives of Potomac.
Never.
Or anything in that franchise ever again. But I wanted you to know why.
You wasn't given that much anyway.
I took a couple of days to be sober of thought and clear of mind. So I would not, in fact, operate in emotionalism, but in sound judgment. So I want to tell you why you will never see me on the Housewives of Potomac again.
Let us know.
It has been a gross misrepresentation of my character, my ministry, and my humanhood. There are a couple of things that have happened this season that require immediate redress. Many of you who are watching bombarded me with accusations of abandoning my family, not being there for my girls, for their photo shoot, as if I was just in Atlanta, frolicking around and participating in willful neglect. The truth of the matter is, I was in South Africa. I was in South Africa, coming back for the photo shoot, and had a delay in Frankfurt, Germany.
What is he looking down at if he has a binder?
The producers knew it.
What is he looking at?
The network knew it. And as a consequence, my flight did not land in enough time.
Oh, he has a script.
And none of that was mentioned. None of it was brokered. None of it was represented.
He's reading from a teleprompter or a script.
Secondly,
Well, teleprompter probably.
On the Housewives of Potomac is that many of you misguidedly thought that it was in real time. It was, in fact, recorded a year ago in 2019. And so you saw my children who were not happy with me, but you didn't have context. It was their first day of school, and this is the very first time in their entire lives that the first day of school I was not present to pick them up or to take them. Any of you who have teenagers understand the emotional roller coaster of teenage girls.
Just the girls?
I had just moved to Atlanta, so it was adjustment for them, and it was for me. They are absolutely daddy's girls. As a matter of fact, they are here in Atlanta often and frequent, and more than their school, they wear new birth t-shirts and hoodies almost every day. Faithfully, even while in Maryland, they watch their father on Sunday morning in worship. I have a very healthy relationship with my children, which I value and which I absolutely don't take for granted. The third thing that was put out there pejoratively was disparaging remarks made by my father-in-law, Mr. Curtis Graves, who is 83 years of age. He's 83 years of age, and unlike many, I was raised old school, that you never disrespect elders. I honor him. He's an amazing man, has had incredible accomplishments, and he has every right to feel protective over his daughter. I've been divorced for now 10 years, and he and I have not had a heart-to-heart, man-to-man conversation about me breaking the heart of his baby girl. Anybody who is married or been married understands that working with in-laws is a process and it is a journey. So that
especially
was,
when you cheat on their daughter.
Very few times,
multiple times, right? And had a baby
that we have been in proximity. But I want on record that I honor him. He's made tremendous strides in history. He is my fraternity brother, and I want my children to always know that I honor their grandfather and Giselle's father. Let me make sure I'm on the right page of my binder, because you can't bring me receipts if I got the cash register. So
what is that in the background? Tell us
let me press the cash register.
Egging him on.
Yes. I dated a young lady in New York. In case you all missed it, I've been divorced for 11 years. And single people date. Mm-hmm. When you date, sometimes it works, and sometimes it didn't.
He dated her for 8 years, too.
In this instance, it didn't. Nothing immoral,
very preacher-like,
or unethical took place. It did not work out. It is.
Took him 8 years to figure that out.
Needs to happen. I'm not married. I'm not engaged. So some of you have a strange relationship with language. You can't have a mistress while you're single. So I never had a mistress. As a consequence, she has never been to visit me in Atlanta, never been to Newburgh, never been in my home. I've never been in her home.
Maybe her current home.
You would think that things
maybe she just moved.
And people move on. They don't. So if we're going to show text messages, let's show all the text messages. Mm-hmm. Let's show the text messages.
You got text messages to show us?
Of the young lady asking to fly to Atlanta for my installation. Show the text message where I said, no, it's not a good idea.
You gonna show it?
You're gonna show the text message, show all the text messages.
Yes. Show us.
Where you asked to come down for Memorial Day. And I said, no, you can't come here. If you're gonna show the text messages where you complained because I didn't open the door for you to speak on the Word Network. You're gonna show the text message, show all of them. How it is that you wanted me to hire you to be on staff. I told you you weren't qualified. And so January, I brought in new staff members, 3 of them. My assistant pastor, Colleague Lemons, my internet pastor, Kervance Ross, and my emerging generations
I could have cut this part out.
Cariana Turner.
Sorry.
So if you're gonna show the text message, show the text message from January 5th, where you sent me in text, oh, I see you hired a young lady. You must be sleeping with her. To which I responded, no, I didn't even know her before I hired her.
I ain't slept with her yet. I ain't had time. I just met her.
Applied for the job. And she emerged because she is competent and because she is capable. And so for you to insinuate it is fraudulent. You're gonna read the text messages. Read the text messages where you asked me to review your dissertation on Black women's empowerment. And I told you it needed a revision because it doesn't have depth. It doesn't have enough nuance, and there is no creativity.
No creativity, wow.
Read the text. How it is that you sent this, quote, receipts to 27 periodicals and blogs, hoping to sell a story. And of the 27 you sent it to, 25 dismissed it because they knew it had no merit, it had no weight. And so because doors were not opening, because you're chasing clout and an opportunity to get on a stage that gift and integrity necessitate, you then sent it to the executive producers of Bravo. Sent it to executive producers of Bravo, they didn't respond. So you sent it to every person in the cast. Your dissertation is on the empowerment of Black women. So the question is, if you're empowering Black women, why'd you send it to the entire cast and never send it to Giselle? You want to equip her and not break her or crucify her, and you thought something was awry, then the responsible thing to do is to go to that woman. But you didn't do that. It's okay. What you didn't say in passing out this information is that you and your sister were starting a magazine, very flagellant, no circulation.
Why are you reading all her accomplishments, everything she's trying to do?
In answering you about where I am and what I am doing, it's not as a friend, but because I didn't want it in publication and I didn't trust it, obviously wisely, that it wouldn't be used otherwise, because every ask had a demand for something else. The only person who bought into it was Monique. So let's go to that. Where's Monique?
Where's Monique?
Here she is.
He found her tab in his binder.
Monique Samuels, I've never met. Never shook her hand. Never been in the room with her. And yet she's assassinated my character with high level of anger and hostility. A man she's never met.
Should have pulled out my dictionary.
Now, I've got to address this because on national, international television, you've labeled me a holy
whore.
Yeah. I think is the word.
Yes, that's what she said. You're a holy whore.
And so I need to give some address to that. I'm not sleeping with any woman in my church.
Currently.
And I have no babies in my church.
Currently.
And I have no inappropriate relationship.
Currently.
With any woman in my church.
Currently.
Now.
He just said now.
Oh, here it is.
He just said now.
So I understand what the hostility was about and why the redirect of attention was on me. The redirect of attention on me, you teamed up with your best friend, who rest in peace has gone on to be with the Lord.
I didn't know that.
And generated a story because you wanted to redirect because you thought a story was getting ready to break, that your baby is from your trainer. And that's what got your husband upset because he thought Giselle leaked it. And I want to tell you, Monique and Chris, it is not Giselle who leaked that, but Monique, your best friend, Gigi.
Mm-hmm.
We had nothing to do with it.
That part is true.
You came hostile and angry, and it was misdirected rage. Misdirected rage because you live in a house with a man who has anger management, who doesn't mind expressing volatile behavior. And everything that I'm saying tonight is not conjecture. This is not murder. This is self-defense. And so on Sunday, for the first time in 5 years, I'm inviting my audience to watch the reunion, Housewives of Potomac.
He said my audience, not my congregation.
You see Monique's husband try to attack my wife, my ex-wife, Ann Robin. And security had to be called, and he had to be subdued. And I'm very concerned. Monique, you all have my phone number, as you expressed on the show.
She gave it out.
But I had you all's address. And because of grace, I didn't respond to that.
Is that a threat?
Chris, you've got to take care of CTE. Yeah. Some of your former teammates contacted me. They're concerned. Said, Jamal, please don't respond because CTE is a progressive degenerative disease from a history of trauma to the brain. And so just last week, you had an outbreak again, verbally assaulting a Black woman in Safeway. We have the footage of that, but I'm not going to air that, but I'm asking you to please get help. I've tracked down your pastor, so all of what I'm saying is in love, so that your pastor can help you get the help that is needed and that is necessary. None of this really necessitated happening, I've not bothered any of you. I've not said anything disparaging against any of you.
Until now.
I've not attacked any of you.
Until now.
But I thought it was necessary for a couple of reasons. I thought it was necessary because of the failures of my past. It made the accusations of the present believable. And many of you began writing on my social media with no information, began attacking me with no information, start going all the way in with no information. And I wanted believers to know that no matter what it is that you did in your past, you can outlive it in your present.
Amen.
Regrettably, those of you who have said the most vile, nasty, and negative things did
People
it
do
behind
that.
Scripture.
People do that.
You did it under the guise of being saved, not calling for prayer, but immediately calling for crucifixion. I didn't say that I was perfect, nor do I pretend to be. But don't come for me unless I invite you. All of us are in a journey of a process of trying to be better, trying to work out, and I am one of them. And so you have to forgive me because I'm not going to hold you long.
Except for 25 minutes.
Why you running?
Well, preacher, I guess that's not long ago.
Because Saturday, I got to feed 8,000 families in Atlanta who don't have groceries. I think I got to announce that here because none of these bloggers are going to write about that. So I know that many of you will still have stuff to say. I am not here to convince you. What I am here to say is I wish we would expend as much energy pushing positive than we do pushing negative. I wish when one of us falls or makes a misstep, we will cover them, protect them, and then push them. I wish that at some point or another, we would mature and reason together. I live in Atlanta, but I'm from Baltimore. I want to wish all of you a Merry Christmas. And
well, good night. I think that was a threat.
God bless
I'm
you.
in Atlanta, but I'm from Baltimore. Because you know Baltimore rough. Well, you know, people from Baltimore are known to be tough. Interesting. Well, Jamal said what he said. So I will say I'm not buying everything that Jamal Bryant is selling because he's a prominent minister and a great orator, as we clearly saw here, and his job is to persuade people on a weekly basis. Now, he said that he was delayed with his response because he didn't want to come out and operate in emotionalism, but I'm starting to feel after that he needed a few more days to get out of his emotion because a lot of his statements did come from a petty place. Now, I definitely do not think that this is ideal preacher-like behavior, and I do take some issue with him allowing the world to take him from his busy ministry work that he expressed multiple times throughout this live, which had him basically addressing internet drama that was really unbecoming of a shepherd of God, especially in the way that he did it. I think this would have been a great time for him to listen to Michelle Obama and go high when they go low. But instead, he decided to go right down in the gutter with Monique. No matter how eloquently he presented his reads, it was still gutter talk. So now, after all of his single talk, I'm now confused. Is he or is he not dating Giselle? Were they dating? Were they not dating? Because he really talked about them coming to a slow reconciliation. That doesn't mean you're together. That also does not mean when you're reconciling with someone that you're reconciling to become a couple. You can reconcile with friends. You can reconcile with people who've done you wrong, who you want no relationship with afterwards. So that was very cagey. And it makes me believe what his ex-girlfriend of 8 years, and he didn't express it that way. He's like, we dated and single people date. Yeah, but 8 years, that's a relationship, no matter how you spin it. But anyway, in his text to the girlfriend last year, he stated that the whole relationship thing with Giselle was for reality TV and was not a real relationship. So it's starting to make me think that that is true. And also all the other stuff in her text messages have not been proven to be untrue. He's just kind of picking and choosing the parts to cover when really we got the information that people most cared about. No one really cared about her coming to your door and you not letting her in, or if she's been to your new house because you just moved. So maybe she hasn't been to your house because you guys broke up last year sometime. So that would make sense. And maybe you haven't been to her current house because maybe she moved, or maybe you guys always met on the road. There was talk about how they traveled together and all that. So, that doesn't mean they weren't in a relationship because he's saying he hasn't been to her home and she hasn't been to his new home. But I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Comment below and let me know your thoughts. Now, I'm kind of torn with the idea of him addressing it at all because I do feel like he was placed in a tough predicament, basically backed into a corner, because it is now affecting his life and his ministry, his career. Basically it's a career. So I'm not entirely sure that not responding in any kind of way would have helped him, because many of us, including myself, would just have believed that it was all true, and so he just wasn't going to address it because it was true. However, I think there's a way to even address things that are blatantly untrue about you, even if it is fodder for internet drama. I mean, for God's sakes, he has a hoodie on that says, "I'm an African angel," but nothing he did in that live was angel-like behavior. And I definitely think he crossed the line about Chris possibly having CTE and brain trauma, causing him to have anger management problems. I think that was really, for a pastor that claims you care, was really gutter-like behavior, whether it's true or not. And then I'm like, in the way that he did it, is that a HIPAA violation? I'm not sure, but it's not like a real diagnosis, or how does he know? Like, he shouldn't be spreading things like that have not come out of Chris's mouth himself to the public. So he was dead wrong for that. And his fake concern was really condescending. Bringing up Chris's pastor and talking about he reached out to his pastor out of concern for Chris. And I'm like, if you were that concerned, you wouldn't be announcing that. You would have did it in private, and you wouldn't be cashing in on that tea in this live. Now, what I will say was an interesting tidbit was him saying that Chris's anger management issues reared its ugly head at the reunion when Chris tried to physically attack Giselle and Robin on the stage, and security basically had to restrain him. Now, of course, we'll definitely get to see that with our very own eyes in the upcoming episodes of the reunion show. So I will be very interesting to see how that goes down and if it really appears the way that Jamal is presenting it. What I will say is, that's not appropriate in any way, and especially a grown, huge man like him coming after women physically, that's not cool. But if it is true, then I would definitely be questioning whether the Samuels should be fired from the show completely, since they would definitely be a liability. I mean, she's already a fighter, and if he's a fighter too, that's just a recipe for disaster. The way that these characters come at each other on these reality shows, they're bound to get pissed off again. And next year, they're going to have to ratchet the drama up to beat out this year. So if they can't handle this year, they definitely would not be able to handle what's to come, and they would have to go. And on top of that, initially after the fight with Monique and Candace, I was already 100% for the removal of Monique from the show completely, because I have a zero tolerance for physical violence on my Real Housewives shows. That ain't what I'm here to see. So I was actually glad when the ladies iced her out this season and stopped inviting her to events and wouldn't come to any of her things. Of course, with the exception of Karen and Ashley, who were really trying to still keep her in the fold. However, I have to admit, as the season went on and I thought about it more, I realized how much of a hypocrite I was being in wanting to see Monique get fired. Because when Portia on the Real Housewives of Atlanta literally drug Kenya across the floor, and if I remember correctly, also she attacked Cynthia, both times I was praying that they would give her another chance. And I made excuses in my head, giving her grace for immaturity. But after deep thought, I realized the primary difference of why I wanted to see Monique get fired so quickly was zero tolerance. And then with Portia's multiple physical altercations, I was like, oh no, she'll be okay. Let's work with her. Is because I actually like Portia and I do not care for Monique. And I know some of you are a fan of Monique and we're still family. It's no beef between us. It's okay. We like who we like outside of us, and that is what it is. But me personally, I just don't care for Monique. And I think she must remind me of someone from my life, like my past life or something. It's something about that energy, I don't like it. Is it somebody in high school that I didn't like? It's gotta be. It's something. It's something. I don't know. I haven't put my finger on it yet. But nevertheless, I can admit when I'm wrong and biased. And in this case, I am definitely wrong and biased. So long story short, I recently stopped being so adamant about her needing to be fired from the show. I am now open to her being on the show moving forward. However, I do feel that if this whole thing about Chris trying to attack Robin and Giselle is true, I just feel like we need to cut our losses with the entire Samuels family and move on. Because in that case, they just become too much of a liability. Especially because I thought Chris was actually more calm and mild-mannered, especially after he got on Monique after the fight with Candace. He was the voice of reason for her, although she wasn't listening. So that made me feel like he was her yin to her yang, he was her balance. But if he's just as aggressive as she is, then I feel like we're at a loss with this situation. But besides this situation and hearing what Jamal is saying is going to take place on the reunion show, I can't think of a time when I've seen Chris enraged or angry or acting aggressive on the show. But I don't know, am I forgetting the time? Do you guys remember any occasions of us seeing that in the show? Or have you heard anything even outside of in the internet streets? Supposedly he's going off on women at Safeway. I take that with a grain of salt. Like, you catch me on a bad day, you might be like, he's aggressive, he goes off on people. But you don't, like, sometimes we all end up in situations where we gotta snap off. And it doesn't mean we're walking around hemming people up and choking people out. So I don't know. I take that with a grain of salt because I don't know the backstory. And he did not play any footage of what supposedly occurred. But anyway, if you guys remember anything about Chris and, you know, aggressiveness on the show or any signs you saw, or if you know of anything, definitely comment below or hit me up in our text community, which is pinned below in our comment section. However, back to the way that he responded to this, I do feel like he is gifted enough as an orator to have been able to respond to this in a much more way that is becoming of a man of the cloth. And I think that was proven in his response to his ex-father-in-law, who drug him on the show and basically said that he was a low down, no good, dirty scoundrel. However, he was able to respond and respectfully disagree with his father-in-law while still providing him with the utmost respect and homage and all of that. So we know that Jamal Bryant is gifted in that way and had the ability to do the same thing as it pertained to the ex-girlfriend of 8 years, and Monique and Chris. And I think that had he approached those individuals the way he approached the situation of what his father-in-law said, I think that our commentary and many of our thoughts about this would have been a lot different. There's still going to be people who are going to doubt, you know, whether he's telling the truth or not. But I think he's now added not only the question of whether he's telling the truth, but now he's added that extra layer of him going so low and gutter and petty and becoming worldly like to respond to it has really hurt his image with the masses and possibly some of his congregation if they're individual thinkers. So I think that that was a major misstep. And whoever that was behind the camera and running his teleprompter versus saying, when he talked about the cash register binder, should have been saying, hey, let's back this up. But what I'm reading here, what you done wrote out on this teleprompter you keep glancing at, let's fix this. Let's make this a lot smoother and like a sermonette kind of situation. But it's all water under the bridge now. He got to face the music of what he's put out into the world, and we'll see how it goes from there. And then also, I was like, if your issue was primarily with Monique in the beginning with her and the binder, why didn't you come for her? You instead came for Chris. Now, after further thought, I was like, well, he mentioned now that Chris had anger management issues and tried to physically attack Giselle and Robin. So then I guess I see that he called himself kind of splitting, coming for both of them. But I definitely feel like he came at Chris harder, and Chris, I think, is more reacting to protecting his family. Again, we haven't yet seen the reunion, and I'm not sure what his aggression looks like. And I'm not agreeing or advocating for physically going after women whatsoever. So, you know, once we see it, I'm probably gonna feel totally different even about maybe the way, if he was protecting his family, the way that he was going about it, if he turned it to be physical. But nevertheless, I feel like he could have put more focus on Monique because she also has enough skeletons and issues that he could have respectfully drug and read her and made her look even more gutter after this situation. But instead, he basically put the spotlight on him being gutter-like. Now, with that all being said, I am a chew the meat, spit out the bone kind of person, so I can hear and get a message out of almost every situation. I'm always looking for what is the lesson, what is the takeaway from this situation? Really, even in these most ratchet situations on these housewife shows, you guys always see at the end of my videos, I'm coming up with our word or catchphrases of what was our takeaway. So for me, this was no different. So for me, what resonated out of the whole thing after I got out of the gossip and the reading part of it was Jamal's statement of, no matter what you've done in your past, you can outlive it in your present. Now, unfortunately, I don't think this moment reflected that for him, but for us, whether you've lost a job, a relationship, had financial hardship, or made poor choices that negatively affected your life, just remember any negativity from your past does not dictate what your present or your future has to look like. So with that, let me know below what you think about this situation and what I had to say. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Did you notice things that I didn't notice in the reaction? And if you are new to this channel, we have officially opened up the doors of our subscriber family for you to click that subscribe button below and join the most evolved subscriber family on YouTube. Yes, right here on the Evolution of Vell. And if you're already a part of the EOV family, thank you guys. I appreciate you. I love you. Remember to show that extra layer of support by clicking that like button below. It helps us grow, helps the algorithm know that we exist, and share us with more and more and more and more lovely, amazing, involving people. Yes. So if you've made it to this point in the video, comment below and let me know that you've made it this far. Live your best life. Yes, live your best life. All these people involved may not in this moment be living their absolute best lives, but that is always the goal for them as well as for us. So with that, till next time, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care and be blessed. Peace.